The Misipawistik and Innuit, the people of Grand Rapids, have had these guiding principles since we've been here that teach us how to live a good life. And these are not laws that we've made but have been given. They come from the Creator. So we brought together a group of our elders and our knowledge keepers to talk about these guiding principles so that we can use them to help protect our lands and our waters and to reclaim some of what we've lost.
When you say pimatisi, it means you're living this life. It's a path. It's a pimatisi life. And then when you say mino pimatisi, that's a good life. You're saying good life. And the reason we put that in the middle is because when you're surrounding yourself with all these principles, you have a good life. You're going to have a good life if you're sasipenta, tapatenta, and all those words, sagiwe, and all those words that are surrounded. That gives you the good life. And there's no gap. If you leave one of those petals out, there'll be a big gap in there and other stuff can come in. Kisteni tamuin. Kisteni tamuin. That's putting everything in high regard, respect. And manachihiwewin is more protective. Manachihiwewin, you're protecting and respecting things. Nanaskomoin is being grateful or giving thanks, actually. When you give thanks in the morning, it's giving thanks, and it's gratitude and being grateful. Nanaskomoin, yeah. It's giving thanks. Piattaguenimoin, piattaguenimoin, piattaguenimoin. It's peace in your mind, in your body, and in your spirit. Because if you don't have that, you become very restless. And we have to have piattaguenimoin, because it makes you sick if you're not at peace with your mind and your body and your spirit. Tipuenimisuin. This is important because tipuenimisuin, you are free to choose. When the Indian Act was imposed on us, we had no freedom to choose anything. Even in education now, we're not free to choose anything, but tipuenimisuin would give us the freedom to decide to do this and do that and use these words. So it's very important word to use, tipuenimisuin, because it was almost taken away from us completely, that freedom to choose with our Indian status card. Yeah. Kisewatisiwin. Kisewatisiwin. It's a verb that means kindness, but that prefix there, kise, means old or kind. When you say kisemanitu, when you say your prayers, you're saying, "Oh, old and kind God, please." And that's what you say, kise. That word means kise. And so when you say kisewatisiwin, this is the old way of kindness. That's what it actually means, kisewatisiwin, yeah. And sagihiwewin is good, love. That's very easily explainable. Sagihiwewin, love. Loving you, loving yourself, loving others, love all of creation. It's not just loving people, it's all of creation, like that little bird I hear. Punenihtamuin, forgiving others, forgiveness. Punenihtamuin. And sasipenihtamuin, there's that word again, HT in there, the thinking. Sasipentam, persistence, but it's in your mind. HTA, sasipenihtamuin. The same with punenihtamuin in there. It's the forgiveness, that HTA is in there, which means it's forgiveness in your mind, because it could stay in there if you don't have forgiveness in your mind. The same with sasipintamun, the persistence. If you don't have that persistence in your mind, you don't have peace. And tapwewin, truth is tapwewin. Suhkitehiwin, bravery, courage. The word for our heart is mite, and that's in the middle there. Suhkitehi, the word mitehi means heart in there. So when you say suhkitehiwin, means his heart is brave and he is courageous. Suhkitehiwin. The word mitein is in there, which means heart. Wichihiwewin is helping and caring for each other. These are the old ways we used to live in Grand Rapids. We would help each other, helping and caring for each other. And that we have lost a lot of that. And if you want to say minuwichihiwewin, that means the good way of helping each other. Just like minupimatisiwin is the good way to live. And then we have wicheituin. And you could say minuwicheituin. Wicheituin is how you get along with people. And that's the other thing I think they said yesterday. We have to know how to get along with each other instead of so much disagreement. And elders before, they helped each other and they got along. There was no disagreement. Tapatenimuin. It's being humble. Tapatenimuin, not holding yourself above others, but always in balance with everybody. And not thinking you're superior, but thinking that you are on level with other human beings, that you're not superior, you're humble. And you think that way. You don't teach that you're better than others. So that's humility. Tapatenimuin, yeah. Kehtawenithtamuin. That's again, when I say that HTA, that's something to do with your mind. Kehtawenithta means thinking wisely. And it's thinking. Kehta means older. Kehta, when you say kehtiatis, that means the elders, right? So when you say kehtawenithtamuin, it means thinking like the elders, the way of thinking, old thinking. That's the difference between kehtawenithtamuin and nipokawin. Nipokawin, you say about kids they've learned in school, nipokaw they say. But that's nipokawin. That means they're wise, but that doesn't mean they have kehtawenithta, they're thinking like the old ways. But they're wise. It's book knowledge, I call it. When people say, "Tapi nipokaw," this child, they say nipokaw. That means they're learning things in school, nipokaw. But it's not kehtawenithta, it's thinking the old way, an old way of thinking about knowledge, yeah. And wahkuhtuin, all my relations. When you talk about wahkuhtuin, you're talking about all your relations, 7 generations behind, and 7 generations here, and 7 generations ahead. And when you talk about wahkuhtuin, it's those connections like a chain link like this. And you have to know them all, wahkuhtuin. That's what you have to teach. And a lot of the elders have said, we have lost these connections. And residential school, this is what they did. They broke those connections. And that's why it's important to teach wahkuhtuin, how you're connected. If we're going to reclaim our life, we have to use the words that we have, their belief system.